Let's try again. Take two. Hi guys, it's Blue here, and it's time for another video. It was time for another video a quarter of an hour ago, but I ran out of storage, so let's try again. First off, Black Lives Matter and trans rights. Now I've taken a couple of weeks off reading as much to try and recharge. Now that I've hit the midway point of my year goal of 37 books, I've now done 19. So instead of reviewing books or talking about my TBR, this week I wanted to try something a little different. And thanks to another YouTuber, Dilvy Reads, another booktuber, I got pointed in the direction of the BookTube Newbie Tag questions from Brenda C. So I thought, I'm a newbie. I'm going to do those questions. So number one is, why did you start this channel? Now, originally it was just kind of keep me on track and keep me honest with the books that I was trying to read this year. Last year I stood by my Instagram account, Read with Blue, where I would post every book that I read with, for most of them, a little blurb about what I thought of them. And that worked for last year, and I thought, well, I'm reading more books this year, I'll do more. I'll also start posting videos to YouTube talking about these books. So it was as much just kind of keeping myself accountable. And after watching some BookTube videos last year, mostly Elliot Brooks, who I think is fantastic, I thought, I'm going to give this a go. So here we are. Now, question number 2 is, what are some fun and unique things you can bring to BookTube? That's an awkward question, isn't it? Surely everyone brings something different. I don't think there's many mid-30s English guys talking about young adult fantasy novels, but maybe I can give a different viewpoint than others. No, there probably are some mid-30s English men, male-identifying people talking about young adult fantasy, but I haven't gone looking for them, and I haven't seen anyone, so apologies. I'm new at this, don't hate, please. I'm kidding, you can hate me if you want. Number 3, what are you most excited for about this channel? Progress, really. These videos, for me, show me each few weeks just getting closer and closer to that goal, and I think that's quite important. It's important to acknowledge when you're completing something. So me posting these videos and these updates will keep giving me the motivation I need to read more, and that in itself is quite exciting. So question number 4 is, why do you love reading? Now, I went off on a bit on the last recording of this video, so I'll keep it shorter here. Aphantasia. That's something I have. It's something I live with. It just means no visual imagination, no mind's eye, if you want to put it that way. So whereas someone can read a book and can picture someone in their head, nothing. Blackness. Just nothing up there. Nothing up there? I mean, I've got brains, but no visual imagination. So a lot of people then ask, how can you read if you can't picture it? And it's like, well, I can't picture anything, so reading at least is something. There's some world building, there's some character building there that I can kind of get lost in that still without worrying about the visual impact of it. It's not even something I thought about until about 3 years ago when I heard of aphantasia, and I was like, that's me. So yeah, I can still enjoy a book. Number 5, what book or series got you into reading? So as a kid, it was R.L. Stine's Goosebumps books. I read, like, I want to say there's like 50 or 60 of them, I don't know, but I read as many as I could get my hands on, as well as the Give Yourself Goosebumps. I think they might have been the Choose Your Own Adventure type ones. Loved them. So I read all of them as a kid. Didn't really read a lot else. Lots of comics. Then when I hit secondary school, all the way through till when I finished university, I probably only read the Harry Potter books in that time. I wasn't really much of a reader. I had quite a lot of schoolwork to do, and getting set books at school kind of put me off wanting to read them in my free time, and I had a PlayStation. So I just played Final Fantasy 7 and 8 and 9 and 10 again and again and again. instead, which is arguably better than some books. Then, when I finished university, I met my other half. She gave me Magician by Raymond Feist and introduced me to the Rift War Cycle books. There's 30 of them, so I read them again and again. And they were kind of my first foray into fantasy. Made me kind of realise, yeah, I like this. It was them. I think it was the James Barclay series as well, Dawn Thief, which I think is somewhere on that shelf. I was reading those. There's also a copy just down there. Just like Magician is right there. I have too many copies of the same books. That's a lie. You can never have too many copies of the same book. So it was reading those that kind of got me into fantasy and got me back into reading. Now, question 6 is, what questions would you ask your favourite booktubers? I don't know. How are you? Crazy weather we're having, right? You know, I'll ask the silly questions, and then really, I mean, these are good questions. These 10 questions here, I think they're the questions I would want to lead with, like, what got you into reading? How long have you been reading? Those kind of things. When it's someone on BookTube who's talking about books, you want to know what their thoughts are on books, surely. So, number 7, what challenges do you think starting a BookTube channel will be the hardest to overcome? Public speaking is not my forte. I don't do presentations at work very often. I'm not a confident public speaker, and I have anxiety and I ramble a lot, as you may have noticed. But yeah, the just kind of performance aspect of it is something that, whilst I feel I've got it in me, it doesn't always come out how I want. So that's something I'm trying to get over with this, and hopefully I'm doing okay. So question 8 is, when did you start reading? The late 80s? I don't really know. 30 years ago at least. I'm 33 now, so 1989, 1990, somewhere around there probably. Number 9, where do you read? Right there. So just to the right of me is our sofa, and my other half goes to bed a couple of hours before me at the moment. So I'm using this time to be like, this is my 2 hours and I will read. So a lot of what I've read this year has been sat right here on this sofa, maybe with some instrumental music, something like Snail's House or In Love with a Ghost playing on the little hub, and then I just crack on with a book. So question 10 is, what kind of books do you like to read? I don't want to be the guy that says everything. So a lot of fantasy, first off, mostly young adult, some adult. I mean, the Raymond Feist stuff is all adult fantasy, so's the James Barclay stuff. Lately it's been a lot of stuff by Sebastian de Castel and Laura Sebastian, so there's been a lot of young adult stuff there. But I like some sci-fi as well. Can't remember the name. Roadside Picnic. That was the first book I read last year, which was a Russian sci-fi book. Then there'll be some contemporary fiction in there. Not really much in the way of poetry or plays, but I'm not against it. I'll link my Goodreads in the description below, because that's going to give a better overview than I could ever try and give off the top of my head, even though this is the second take. So that's all 10 questions done. So again, thanks to Dilvy Reads and to Brenda C for those questions. Now, just a quick update on what I am reading. I know I said I've taken a bit of a 2-week break from reading as much, but I'm still reading along with my book club that I'm part of on Facebook, the Still Buffering Book Club, where we're reading Shades of Grey by Jasper Fforde. I've read a couple of Fforde books before. The Thursday Next books, I think I've read the first 3 of those. I've got the 4th one on my pile over there. But this is the first Shades of Grey book that I've read. I think it's a series. It's interesting. It's weird, but it's funny because it's Jasper Fforde, so it's going to be funny. Alongside that, I'm also reading Prince of the Blood, one of the earlier Raymond Feist books with the Discord server that I'm part of. we finished the first trilogy. Then there's a concurrent trilogy, which we've not moved on to, which are probably my favourite ones, which is with the author Janny Wirtz, and it's all political fantasy based in an Asian-themed world. But this Prince of the Blood follows the sons of one of the main characters from the first 3 books, and it is a good one. It's not my favourite, but it's where we're going with our lockdown read-through. So only about 5 chapters into that, and about 10 chapters into the Jasper Fforde book. I've also started reading Vicious by V.E. Schwab. I loved the Shades of Magic series I finished earlier this year, spoke about a couple of videos ago. I just thought it was time I tried something else. So I'm about a quarter of the way through Vicious as well with Victor and Eli. Anyway, that's it for now. I'm going to get back to educating myself to be more anti-racist, and I will catch you next time. Bye.